The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point. We are a brand new week, and it is the last full week of August. Oh, no. Summer is winding down. Fall sports are in absolute full swing. We can say, for the first time on this show, we can officially say all fall sports are underway. We weren't able to say that on Friday afternoon, and now we can. All fall sports completely underway. Here we go. We had a great weekend on Ysn. We had plenty of football on Friday. We had a great slate of football, volleyball, and soccer. On Saturday. So it was a great slate of games over the weekend. Today here on Running Point, we're going to absolutely recap through all the action, break it down, what happened, what went down, who were the big names, all that fun stuff. We're going to do all that. We're also going to talk about the power rankings that came out. The volleyball power rankings are live on ysnlive.com. Going to talk about that. Going to shout out the big dogs as well. We have our first ever soccer Big Dogs of the Valley poll. So make sure to go out and vote for those. ysnlive.com/big dogs. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to start, though, in the scoreboard like we always do. It's the YSN Live scoreboard brought to you by our good friends over at Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. You can find the scoreboard at ysnlive.com/scores. This is a great tool for our fans, whether you are at one of the games or watching one of the broadcasts, or maybe even both. Either way, you don't want to look away from the action for too long. The YSN scoreboard is a great and easy way to get live, updated stats to you from your favorite teams across the YSN family, whether it be your heated rival or maybe your best friend that's playing on their team. The YSN scoreboard has you covered every night. We have a great team behind the scenes, behind the curtain, if you will, doing these scoreboards and keeping them up to date. So we thank them for their time. And it's brought to you and presented. We couldn't do it without Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. So if you like the YSN scoreboard, make sure to give them a shout out and make sure to thank them for their support. We will start back on Friday. Football Friday finals are in. First one on deck is Struthers against Beaver Local. I said it. I will own when I am wrong or when I am not speaking correctly. On the audible call and on the Joe DeGilex scoreboard show, I was like, hey, I said Struthers was going to be an offense to try to slow the game down, make this kind of low scoring, make this limited possessions. No. Struthers put up a really strong and high-flying and exciting offensive performance. They were everything you want out of that kind of offense, and they held Beaver Local's offense, who is usually the one scoring a lot of points, to 7. This is a big, major, red alert to the rest of the NE8 and the rest of the area. Struthers, that's a statement, because especially on defense, that Beaver Local offense is really, really good. Not a lot of teams can say we held them to 7 points. Struthers can. Struthers played about as good as you can play in week 1, and I think that's going to make the rest of the season very interesting. West Branch, how about the start? 27-7 over Canfield. And once again, the debut of a quarterback for West Branch goes extremely well. You saw Jeremiah Thomas in his first game as a Warrior under center for the varsity football team. He played really well. You know, he threw an early interception. I will say that. And that could have derailed him, right? That man, first game of the year, first game under center, you throw a pick. That could have put you in a little bit of a tailspin. You'll get a little bit tight trying to do a little bit too much after that. Not the case. He really ran away with this game after that early interception, played really well. You look at this offense for West Branch, did definitely enough on the ground for sure. Boston Molinex, he broke the record for touchdowns, in a career. So you have that falling for him. This a really, and then the defense forcing 3 turnovers from Canfield, who is also, by the way, debuting a brand new quarterback in Enzo Coca. So 2 teams with new quarterbacks, but it's West Branch that gets to win in this one, 27-7, the final score. I told you, been talking to EBC coaches. Carrollton is a team that they're looking out for. They don't want to sleep on. Carrollton opens the season with a big win over East Liverpool. And the final score there was 20-13. That's prototypical what Carrollton wants. They're going to be a knuckle dragon, slob knockering, whatever you want, all that old-timey football slogan, jargon, however you want to say, a tough-nosed, very pedal to the metal ground game offense. That's how they're going to do it. 20-13 is like the epitome of what Carrollton scores are going to look like this year. The other end of the spectrum was Columbiana and Lowville. Their offenses got it going on. Lowville's, especially early, blew the doors off of this game. It looked like it was going to be a runaway. Columbiana came back and fought their tails off to get it down to, I think it was at one point, 43-38. So 1-score game. Then Lowville went down, scored a touchdown, got the 2-point conversion, really put this out of the water at that point, and they win by 13, 51-38. A game of resiliency for Columbiana where they fought back, but I'm sure Coach Spate in that defense wants to sure things up going forward. They'll have McDonald in week 2, so that'll be a fun one to watch. Perry, the state champions, reigning state champions, no problems at all with Madison. Welcome to YSN to the Pirates, 42-10. The final score there. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait a week for the Pirates football team's debut as a broadcast. We got to Madison, we were there, and then Madison denied us access to the game. So that was unfortunate. We can't do anything about it. Madison's not a YSN school, so we couldn't really throw our weight around. We were cleared before that, weren't cleared during the game, so unfortunately we couldn't get that game up and broadcasted. But next week we'll be back. We'll be having the debut of the Pirates in no time. A really good one going down in Garrettsville. Garfield and the G-Men are the typical G-Men. 47-27 the final score over Edgewood. I think Edgewood came into this game knowing it was going to be a tall mountain to climb. They wanted to test themselves. They wanted to test their offense against this vaunted G-Men defense. They found success, 27 points. I mean, they found their ways to win. But Garfield's offense is just unrelenting, physical. You can't really zero in on what they're going to do. And they have that, 4 or 5 plays a game, I should say, that just pop for a big play. Really disheartening when you've spent the whole night trying to stop these, 3 or 4 yard runs from turning into like 10-yard runs. Then all of a sudden, one undisciplined gap, one hole in the defense just breaks one loose for 30, 40 yards. And then, that happened a couple of times for Garfield. They get the win to open the season. 47-27 once again, your final score. Austintown Fitch looked great in their home opener in the Nest. They beat Euclid 49-12 rather easily. Jefferson and Girard doing a great job putting on a show in the first game of the season. The old NE8 rivalry, though, went to Girard. Their offense just could not be stopped on Friday night. Way too much for Jefferson in the end. 56-26, the final score there for Girard. We go to Hubbard, and Hubbard's offense looked great. Their defense looked great. This was a 13-12 game at one point, and then from that point on, you see what the final score is. It was Hubbard's domination, 49-19. So from that point on, what is that? That's 36-7 when it was 13-12. So Hubbard's always been known for good defense. They play really good defense on Friday, but their offense, this has got to be really good for Hubbard fans to see, because their offense was the problem last year. They just couldn't get enough consistent scoring, and they're definitely hoping that this week 1 49 points put down is a sign of things to come, because if their offense can do that, their defense will keep them in a lot of games, and there's not going to be a whole lot of L's on the Eagles' slate if they keep playing defense and offense complementary football like they did on Friday. Boardman comes back and beats Kenston 19-18. They were down 18-6. They absolutely never stopped fighting in this game. They get a touchdown late in the fourth quarter, and then get one last defensive stop to beat Kenston 19-18. The big storyline here is last year Kenston came in at home and won this game, and they scored 50 on Boardman, right? So if you need a clear image of how much better Boardman has gotten this year and how much more they have bought in to the whole culture that Coach Doda is kind of putting into the system, right there. You give up 50 1 year later, almost the same team. I mean, Kenston brings back a lot of players. So you bring back that and you hold them to 18. And really, you'll hold them when you really need to, because you can never make a comeback if your defense doesn't bow up. And their defense bowed up, to say the least, not allowing Kenston to score at all during Boardman's comeback bid on the offensive side of the ball. Very impressed with this Boardman team so far. Offense, definitely things to fix. Definitely left out some opportunities out there. But at the same time, when your defense plays that good and your offense just finds ways to keep fighting, you're going to win games. And if their offense can find a way to fix some of those other things that we saw that need to be cleaned up, opportunities missed out on the field, they're going to be okay, man. But I will say this Boardman schedule is very hard, so they'll be tested week in and week out. But great to see Boardman get on week 1, get some momentum, 1-0 Spartans after the 1918 revenge win over Kenston. A really good one, and Ashtabula Lakeside traveling to East Lake North, 21-14. The Dragons get the win. Can't wait for the Lake Show coming up a little bit later on with Sam Torres, because that's going to be a real fun week to talk about a win, and a win that was gritty, a win that just was clutch. You have a late score after East Lake ties it at 14. So a very fun win. I'm sure that show from Ashtabula County and Lakeside going to be very fun to hear from when Sam Torres hits it up again this week. We go to McDonald. They looked impressive over Champion, going on the road, getting the win 35-9. McDonald versus Columbiana, very interesting week 2 matchup. Cardinal Mooney could not get the offense going. Their defense was there, was fighting, but every time they would move the ball, they just couldn't come up with that last play to get points on the board. 14-0, they get beat by Lake Catholic. And once again, just like Boardman, the schedule never gets easy for Mooney. So they have to practice hard this week, get right back to it, because next week it's another big one. Pymatuning Valley and their size ends up being too much for Mineral Ridge. They win this one 38-27, the final score there. Louisville, a heartbreaker to New Philadelphia. This Louisville team, we talked to about it. We talked to Coach Kappas. We heard his coach's corner with Spotlight Media. They're so improved. They're right there. They're confident. They're doing things the right way. Their culture is as good as it has been, in the last several years. You could see it on the field. They were there. They were fighting. That last fourth down play, heartbreaker. They were driving, they were in New Philadelphia territory, down by 5, needing a touchdown in the fourth. They get into I think a fourth and middle range, 4th and 5-ish. They just couldn't get that play executed the way they wanted to. Bummer for them because they did everything the right way that night. They deserved to get a win. It just that's sometimes the way sports goes, right? Sometimes the team that works the hardest and does the most still doesn't come out on top because sports, you're playing with a ball and the ball cannot bounce your way, and that's what happened on Friday. But I believe in this Louisville team to be a very improved team, and when we see it's all said and done, I wouldn't be shocked if their wins and losses go up by maybe 4 or 5 from last year. How about East Palestine going? Well, I shouldn't say going on the road, but I should say coming home for the home opener and dominating Newton Falls. This was not a squeaker. This was a emphatic put your foot down. We are the better team tonight win for East Palestine. 45-14, the final score. Owen Iriauchi looked amazing as a quarterback, and we talked about him. He's a very experienced dude, athletic as all get out, and just knows this system, knows the culture, felt like he was super comfortable in everything they were doing. How you saw him, we got to check in on East Palestine every now and then in the audible call. Couldn't watch the game in its entirety, obviously, but saw plenty of plays of him rolling out, throwing on the run. Love to see that from young kids. Throwing on the run is a skill that you don't see too much or often enough, I should say. So he was able to make accurate throws on the run. East Palestine, this is their first opening game win since 2016. And we all know how good that team was in 16 for EP. So a very big momentum boosting win for East Palestine. Now the question is, like a lot of teams, okay, you kind of learn how not to lose. You kind of learn how to win. Now you have to learn how to win consistently, right? How do you take this win this week and you build on it over the week and then be prepared for Friday? Because one thing about East Palestine, we know this, like they've not won consistently in a while. So these kids, not only do they have to, know how to win, they have to know how to handle the week after a win. And how do you keep your foot on the gas pedal and not be too complacent because you got to win to open the season for the first time in 2016. I mean, I want to see these Bulldogs come out with the exact same fire in week 2 that they did in week 1. And with Coach Dempster there, I have no problem seeing that will happen. I think he's a great coach. He's a great players coach. They fight for him. They play for him hard. I have no problem seeing that they're going to have a good week in practice. And if they do fall in week 2, which we're hoping they don't, but if they do, it will not be because there was a letdown after the week 1 win. I can promise you that much. Cheney, big win over Akron East, 21-6, the final score. When we checked it on this game, and I said it to Mike in the scoreboard show, and I think I said it during the audible call too. Both these teams were massive in size. When we popped it on, I felt like I was these linemen looked like they were like Division I college athletes. I was like, are we watching? Is this high school football? The size of Cheney is going to cause a lot of problems, especially in the line of scrimmage on both sides of the field. I mean, Akron East could not do anything in the line against this Cheney defense. You see that with the score. I loved watching it. War in the trenches, if you get into it with Cheney, you're not going to have a lot of success. And as long as they can stay disciplined and still be gap sound and do all the things that you're supposed to do fundamentally as a lineman on both sides of the football, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay because their size is going to cause a lot of people and a lot of coaches to lose sleep. Poland is the same old Poland Bulldogs. They have some bite to them at home. 28-10. They open the season with a win over Salem. Big one for Poland. Salem staying in the NE8. They go to South Range next week. They'll just pop right over to the right in the scoreboard because when we go to South Range, they get the win over their rivals, 42-14. The final score there in this one. This is one where South Range got out to a big lead, and then right when it seemed like it was going to teeter on absolute blowout territory, Springfield gets an awesome kick return. They get into position, they score a touchdown. It's like, okay, Springfield's back in this game. 9 times out of 10, it was going to be going into halftime with momentum. South Range, no, they said we're not going to let you go into halftime with momentum. How about a walk off into halftime, kickoff return for a touchdown? How about that? That doesn't happen too often, does it? I've never seen. Well, I haven't seen this part of YSN yet, so that was something to watch. And then South Range ran away with the game from that point on. 42-14, Raiders get the win over their rivals to open the season. Like I said, they have Salem coming in next week into South Range, so we're gonna see how that one goes for the Quakers. Southern Local, too much from Union Local to handle. Southern played well, but these Jets lived up to their name. They were high flying and they were scoring at a high rate. 34-20, the final score in this one. United goes on the road and shuts out Minerva 27-0. The final score there. A lot of new faces on this United team, and they didn't seem to miss a beat. No Luke Courtney anymore, and he was Mr. Do Everything for United. But you look at it, Eagles look pretty dang good, and that defense for Coach Ogilvy down there looking pretty dang good. 27-0. They get the win over a I should tip of the hat and say very improved Minerva team, by the way. Fairport Harding, they are going to beat Latonia 40-7, the final score there. Lisbon gets a full notice from Wyndham that they are healthy and they are back. I've been saying this all week. You got to watch out for Wyndham. They feel like, last 2 years for them were just kind of anomalies. They're a proud football program, dealt with the injury bug more than most. They're healthy again, and they wanted to send a statement, and they did at Lisbon. 49-6, the final score there. The Bombers flying extra high on Friday. LeBray, this is the Vikings team that we all want to see. 58-34. They get the win over Cardinal. So far, 58 is the highest that we see on the YSN family. So we'll see how long that score lasts as the highest total that we see on YSN. 58 is going to be a hard one to beat. You don't see a lot of football teams getting above 58 because then you get into the territory of, are we running up the score? Are we, you have to have the other team score quite a bit too, which, possessions are limited. LeBray did. They got the 58-34. They get the win over Cardinal. I've said it before, though. Got to see the consistency from LeBray. So we'll see how they handle the win and how they come back next week. Waterloo gets the win over Akron Springfield. 28-0. The Vikings get the shutout. Big win for Waterloo. Lakeview gets the win over Holy Name. Another shutout. Back-to-back on the scoreboards. 33-0. They win. Archbishop Hoban, they play Spalding out of Maryland, and Spalding comes into to Akron, and they win 28-14. When you're Hoban and you're playing the teams you're playing, there's going to be a lot of challenges, and you're despite going undefeated until week 10 last year, being 9-1. Excuse me, and almost winning a state championship. You're always going to be testing yourselves, which means this is an absolute possibility. Absolute possibility. The Southeast game will be on Saturday, so they were not playing on Friday night. Campbell Memorial with a big win at St. Thomas Aquinas, 48-0. Had a chance to talk with Coach King, and we also had him on the Campbell show. These seniors, man, they're motivated. They're motivated. They're hungry. We saw that big time in this win. And a couple of guys that we talked to, Kevin Tillman having a big day for Timlin having a big day for Campbell. So it kind of works out like that. The people we talk to having big days. I like it. Mohawk falling to Neshannock in a big-time matchup in Pennsylvania, 42-37. The final score there. This was the score after 3 quarters. So a very offensive 3 quarters of football, Defenses hold up in the fourth. We don't see any scoring in the final frame. Orange, with emphatic dominance, beats Beechwood on the road too. 44-6, your final score. And then last from Friday, we have Malvern beating Valley Christian 36-16, the final score there. So those are your football finals. Let's hop on to Saturday, see what went down then. We did have football played as St. John. They fell to Trinity by the final score of 28-8. Youngstown East gets a big win over Whetstone, 40-6, the final score there. Wellsville falls to Steubenville Central Catholic, 20-6, your final score. Over in PA, the Bobcats of Beaver, they get a win 28-26, a wild one. Bobcats pull it as they beat Westinghouse 28-26, a very close game for the Bobcats. And then Ravenna Southeast, they fall to Kenmore Garfield 21-13. Another close one, this one not going YSN's way on Saturday. We have volleyball matchups on Saturday. Jefferson with a big tri-match win. They beat Howland and West Branch both in this tri-match. They beat Howland 2-1. They beat West Branch 2-0. And then in the, I guess you could call it consolation game of the tri-match in Howland, West Branch gets to win 2-1. That 2-1 win against 2-0 win against West Branch for Jefferson. Set scores were 25-22 and 30-28. Jefferson outlasts the Warriors. That's really impressive to be able to do that on the road in Howland. This one was in Howland. Really impressive. Jefferson with a big win again. Hoban loses their first set of the year, but they're still on top. 3-1. They win in 4 sets. Girard beats East Liverpool in straight sets. They get revenge. Last year, Girard went to East Liverpool, lost in 5, so the Indians feeling pretty good about a sweep at home this year. Cardinal Mooney, they lose to McDonald 3-0. That was the first loss of the year for Mooney. McDonald continues to look very good. They have a matchup with Springfield this week. Very excited for that one between the Blue Devils and the Tigers. Tigers looking really good this year with the Brun guards playing well. Kerrigan Mullen setting well for Springfield. So that one's going to be a fun one between the Blue Devils and the Tigers. We have Kirtland going 5 with Lakeside, a big match for the Dragons. This is a Kirtland team that took a set from Crestview last year in the district championship. Very good program. And the fact that Lakeside was able to battle them all the way to 5, that's going to be, as far as moral victory goes, I know a lot of coaches don't believe in them, but you still got to take stuff from the games you lose. And you got to be able to take the fact that you fought very hard against a very dominant and good program to your future. I think Lakeside will learn a lot from this 5-set loss against the Hornets. We move on to Boardman getting the win over Louisville, 3-2. Good week for Boardman. They get wins over West Branch and Louisville. Canfield got the win over Ursuline in straight sets. And then Edison, they fell to Carrollton in straight sets as well. Boys soccer. We had 4 games go on, and we did not get a score reported from Heartland and East Palestine. So if you are out there and you know what the score was for this game, please let us know because we'd love to update our scoreboard. We did not get a score reported from this game. Girard gets the win over Columbiana on the boys' side, 7-2, a big day for the Indians there. Urson with a big-time win over Crestview, 10-0 the final score. And then we have Hoban beating Louisville 3-1 in boys soccer. On the girls' side, South Range fell to Harvey 2-1 at home. Minerva and United playing each other. Minerva getting the win 7-3, avenging their football team a little bit. Girard and Columbiana, they played to a draw. They tied it at 1. A late score for Girard was enough to tie up the game after Columbiana scored just before halftime. And then Louisville gets the win over Nordonia. They shut out the Knights 2-0, the final score there for the Leopards. So a lot to digest, right? A lot of scores that's thrown at you right now. But that's the way the weekend goes when we're so busy over the weekend. A lot of scores came in. A lot of good quality wins. A lot of great performances that we saw over the weekend as well. So that does it for our recap. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look at some volleyball power rankings. We'll look at big dogs as well. And then we will preview the night ahead on YSN. Don't go anywhere. Running Point always brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by those guys you just heard from over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. We want to thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their constant sponsorship of this show and belief in what this show can be. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, make sure to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They will take care of you like nobody else. So make sure to check them out and make sure to tell them Anthony sent you. That might get you a little bit of a nugget, right? So we are going to hop back into ysnlive.com. We're going to go into the power rankings on the volleyball side of things and talk about these for a little bit because I know they're going to spark conversation, and I know they're going to get people talking just like last year. I want to remind everyone, just like last year, the week 1, maybe week 2 rankings are going to look wild and crazy. We only have 3 games in, and we do everything based on a math algorithm. You can see we are very transparent this year on what goes into our math. So basically, it looks like this. So here's Canfield, number 1. We'll use them as an example and why Canfield got the points that they got. So Canfield, they are 3-0, right? So 3-0, you get the 3 wins, and you have no losses to take points away from you. And then we look at opponent wins. So how many wins do your opponents combined have? Canfield has 4 opponent wins. And then you add that to a division bonus that you get based on what division the teams that you played on are sitting. You saw Canfield, they got a 17-point division bonus. So they are week 1, number 1, with 22 computer points. Now, the opponent wins, we weigh them. They are going to be worth a little bit. They carry a little bit more weight than division bonus. So we've been able to do that. So although division bonus gets a little bit weird now that there's 7 divisions. So now instead of 4 points for division 1 per se, you get 7 points for division 1, just like you would in football. You have to gauge for how big divisions are now. So now division 1 is even bigger, even more pristine. So you get more points for those divisions. But with that being said, the wins of your opponent still carry more weight. So we look a little bit more into opponents' wins than we do division bonus. Division bonus is there. It counts for something. You should get rewarded for beating big teams. So you do get a division bonus. But we also want to make sure that teams aren't getting huge division bonuses for maybe a big team that's not quite as good. You know, if late in the season you beat a Division 2 team that's 3-13, that shouldn't be worth more than a Division 4 team that's 13-0, right? So that's one of the things that we came across last year, and we made sure was a part of this algorithm, that we made sure that wins and losses of your opponents matter a little bit more. You still get that division bonus. You are still getting points for playing the big schools, but you also need to have schools in your schedule that get wins to get a lot of points in this as well. So Canfield, they're number 1. They're 3-0, and they had 4 total opponent wins out of their 3 wins total, and they had the division bonus too. Their first win of the year was a huge one. Jefferson is number 2, and that's kind of, we're not going to go over the whole numbers for every team. We're just going to kind of go through the teams now that kind of what the algorithm is. And this is just how it played out with a couple of games in. Jefferson is 2. We have Archbishop Hoban, who won last year's power rankings. They start out at number 3. Lakeview is 4. Girard is 5. West Branch is 6. We go down. We have Garrettsville Garfield at 7. Austintown Fitch at 8. Very interesting. Fitch just beat Lakeview. So I know there's a lot of people that say, well, what the hey, right? Fitch just beat Lakeview in 5 sets. Why are they 4 points behind them? Once again, it's all about Fitch having 2 wins, and total their opponent wins are 3. And then you look up, and all 3 of those wins came from Lakeview, by the way. Walsh, a big win for Fitch, but they're also a winless team right now. Lakeview has 6 opponent wins in their 3 wins that they do have. So that kind of got them a little bit of a boost. Opponent wins are important in this algorithm. So Fitch there, 2-0. They've only played 2 games. So they have plenty of games left to play, 20 to be exact, to climb the standings. So if these fans of Fitch that might be a little bit shaking their head or scratching their head on why they're 8 right now, you're like, you've played 2 games. Be patient. If you go do your job, you will definitely climb this algorithm. We saw that last year with some teams that started the year a little bit middle. We kind of understood they were good teams, and as the season went on, they kept climbing those standings because the algorithm will work if you give it time. After Fitch, which is 8, we have Lakeside at 9, our first Ashtabula team. Well, I should say our second Ashtabula team in the top 10. McDonald rounds out the top 10 at 10. La Brea is 11. Columbiana 12. Champion, who had a really good start to the season, 3-0 so far, in their win over JFK, who gave them 4 wins out of their 5. It's a big win for Champion so far in the power rankings. We go into Struthers, who has a great start to the season as well. They are number, 14. Crestview is 15. We have Boardman sitting right behind them. They had a big week, like I said. They beat West Branch and Louisville in back-to-back games. They're going to be at 16, JFK 17. Mooney sits at 18. Howland sits at 19. Edgewood is 20, so that's our third 440 team. 440 playing pretty good volleyball right now up there in the Ashtabula County. Springfield right below them, and then South Range, then Ursuline, then Grand Valley, and then rounding out the top 25 is the brand new team in Ysn Perry. They are number 25, so they round out the standings there. Like I said, a lot of games of volleyball to be played. I think the most games anyone has in is 5. I don't think anyone has more than 5. Let me scroll through. No, I don't see anyone more than 5. So at most you have 5 games in. There's still a ton of volleyball to be played, a ton of things to figure out. But right now, Canfield top dog, top bird right now in the number 1 seat of the power rankings. So that's how it's going to play out. And once again, our power rankings are done with math and numbers. These are not opinionated power rankings at all. No opinion goes into it. We were kind of asked to do that. When we were doing opinion power rankings, people weren't too happy with it. And why don't you just do computer rankings? We listened, and this is what kind of comes out. We have the power rankings completely done by an algorithm. I just explained kind of where the algorithm puts a lot of weight. Once again, opponent wins are important. You still have a division bonus in there. So you get a little bit of reward for playing the big teams, but opponent wins are more important. So when you play teams that have 8, 9, 10 wins, you're going to want to beat those teams if you want to climb the power rankings. And the last thing I do want to say about the power rankings, a little bit of a reminder, is I'm going to take them off the screen now. We've already seen them. We've gone through as we get a little bit real. A little bit of a reminder, these power rankings have no bearing to tournament time, no bearing towards playoffs, no bearings towards conference championships. You don't get a prize. You don't get a scholarship for winning the power rankings. These are for fun. These are for conversation. These are to get these teams more eyes and more limelight, which is what we want to do all the time for our jobs at YSN. So take that with a grain of salt. It's not the end of the world if your team in week 1 isn't where you want them to be. Please put away the pitchforks and the torches. Once again, like last year, I think last year we saw it. Last year we saw a couple of teams that we kind of knew, like volleyball fans in the area like me, we knew, okay, these teams are good. But in the first week last year, they were in the middle of the pack because they'd only played like 2 or 3 games so far. You just got to give it time, right? If they go out there and do what we expect them to do, those teams like Columbiana, those teams like Crestview, they'll be fine, right? They will be okay. They will get their wins. They will climb the standings. Eventually, some teams might lose a couple of games. They'll drop. So week 1, awesome. Love to see it. Football will be coming out soon. Don't miss that. We do want to shout out the big dogs of the Valley. Before we preview the night ahead, we have our first week of Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley, and for the first time ever, we have soccer included in this voting. So very excited for that. Boys and girls soccer will be included, as well as the normal volleyball and football. So here are your Big Dog of the Week nominations for football. We have Keegan White from Jackson Milton. From Wyndham, Jack I, who ran back the opening kickoff return for a touchdown to spark that big win for the Bombers. We have Gino Perry from Lowville. DC Farrell from Ursuline. From Columbiana, we have Spencer Pruitt and Owen Iriauchi from East Palestine rounds out the nominees for week 1 of the football Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. For volleyball, we have Abby Ems from Crestview. How about this? 7 sets played so far, 49 kills already for Abby Ems. That's 7 kills per set. She's off to a great start. We have Riley Simons from Austintown Fitch, who just got her 100th career ace, and also a great day setting against Lakeview on Thursday. We have Bailey Walters from Girard, first game as an outside hitter, like a consistent outside hitter, I should say. 33 kills against Boardman. That was pretty dang impressive. That got her on the list. We have Gianna Constantino from McDonald, who has had a double-double at least in all of her 3 games so far. So she's off to a great start. Ava Hewlett from Mineral Ridge, who has her 1,000 kill milestone, carrying her name on the list. And then last but not least, Balin Brungard, who, like Gianna Constantino, has at least a double-double in all of Springfield's games so far. She is playing very good volleyball right now. And no shocker here that a lot of these names are part of the Infinity Club teams, right? So Infinity doing a really good job developing volleyball talent, and you can see that on from the players that are mentioned. On to the first ever boys soccer nominees, we have from Ursuline, Gage Sidoris. We have from Columbiana, Oliver Cuff. From United Maddox, Andrea. We've interviewed this kid. He's something else on the soccer pitch. We have from Poland, Michael Daly. From Edgewood, 440 nominee, Edward Fralick. And then from South Range, we have Mason Naples rounding out the boys soccer nominees. And then on the girls side, last but certainly not least, we have from Newton Falls, Abby Wolford. From Beaver Local, we have Peyton Dunn. From United, we have Elena Powers. From Girard, we have Reagan Knoll. From Poland, Eliana Thompson. And from Niles, Madeline Yost for the Dragons. So those are your nominees for boys, girls soccer, volleyball, and football. Make sure to head over to ysnlive.com/bigdogs. You can vote for your favorite player. Voting is unlimited, so if you're on your phone, you could sit there for a while and just thumb click. I've done it before just to see how fast you can do it, and I think you could, if you're serious, like if you take it seriously, you could probably get about I don't know. It takes about 3 seconds to get it and then refresh it. So 20 votes per minute if you're taking it seriously. If you're on your phone, you're just doing the thumb thing. Voting is unlimited, so you can do that if you want to. We've definitely had people blow up the votes before. We've had school Wi-Fi's call us and tell us we can't get on our voting anymore. We've had too much traffic in our Wi-Fi, and your website thinks that we're attacking them. We've had to reset that. So voting is definitely there for the taking. So make sure to get out there, vote for your favorite players. ysnlive.com/bigdogs. Soccer, boys and girls, football, volleyball, all up there. They'll be on there all season throughout the rest of the year for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. Before we get out of here, let's preview the night that is going to be happening on ysnlive.com. We will venture back to the scoreboard, which is presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let me get it up real quick. So here we go. Back to the oops, I clicked on it. Here we go, back to the scoreboard. We'll just go to the bottom of the page. If you're new to the scoreboard, this is how you navigate the days. Well, actually, since I refreshed it, it's back to Monday. But here's what the volleyball games look like tonight. We have Cheney taking on the Academy of Urban Scholars. Kirtland will travel to Edgewood. This is a big matchup in Ashtabula County for the Warriors. Lakeside goes to Ashtabula St. John. That's also a very big matchup for both teams. We have Mohawk hosting Sharon. Beaver Local hosting Bel Air. We have East Liverpool. They'll be hosting Cambridge. Niles hosts Lordstown tonight. Pymatuning Valley hosting Conneaut. Hubbard going to East. We have Warren JFK hosting Lake Center Catholic. That Lake Center Christian, I should say, a big one for Warren JFK inside the PTC. Liberty will open the season as they travel to Cardinal Mooney. We have Champion hosting Poland. We have Sebring hosting Valley Christian. South Range goes to Boardman. On the girls soccer side, boys soccer will be the bulk of the schedule tomorrow on soccer. So on the girls side, South Range travels to Lakeview. Kansas City Catholic goes to United. Poland goes to Girard, and Ursuline goes to Hubbard. Hold on, I'm going to go to Steel Valley Soccer. I know they all have everything. Our good friends over at Steel Valley Soccer, no one covers the area's soccer players better than them. Some other things happening on today's scoreboard. We have Lordstown at Badger, boys soccer. Jackson Milton at Liberty. Matthews at Niles. Garfield at Mineral Ridge. Crestview at Newton Falls. Campbell at Southeast. And then Champion at Waterloo. On girls' side as well, Western Reserve Academy will be going to Mooney. We have Badger at Warren JFK. Grand Valley traveling to Maplewood tonight. Champion at Newton Falls. Maslin Perry will be hosting Warren Harding. Southeast hosting Brookfield. Springfield at Waterloo, that's going to be a big rivalry. Struthers in Niles. We also have Salem and going to Rootstown tonight. So all those also happening across the YSN family tonight. So make sure, if you're a boys or girls soccer fan, there's definitely games to get out there and support tonight. Volleyball as well. We'll have recaps on the website tonight as always. And then tomorrow we'll be back from 1 to 2. Talk about what went down tonight. We'll have more interviews tomorrow as well. We love playing player profiles and coaches' corners on the show. So that'll be tomorrow, and we'll have some fun. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Running Point today, brought to you as always by our good friends over